Fred, the moment's upon us.
Yeah?
I have tremendous progress to show you in the Discovery Studio.
Are we here? This is it? Broom Street?
No, this is not it. However, we're doing a 3-watch showdown today, but you're gonna get an insight into, both of you, you and you.
Yes.
You're gonna get an insight into where we're at with the Discovery Studio. There's a little way to go.
Okay, all right.
Just a little.
I like a little peek behind the curtain.
Yeah, we're gonna do that, and we're gonna do our 3-watch showdown. Did you bring 3?
I brought 3. I'm ready to go.
All right, let's go.
Is it? Is it? Oh, wow. Okay.
When I say there's a little bit to go,
There's something to do.
there's something to do. Yeah. How are you with power tools?
This is a new wall, right?
Yeah,
You built this.
This is the first substantial thing to happen in here, which is
Right.
our back of house. This is going to be a lounge area under here.
Yeah.
And I mean, everything, obviously, oh my God.
It's just what, like, I remember when you first sent me the photos, you first toured the space.
Yeah.
It's all like, you know, you can see it, you can start to see it. It's starting to come together.
It is.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool.
Well, welcome to the 3-watch throwdown.
Yes.
The brief is this.
Okay.
There's 2 parts to this. One, we are in New York.
Yeah.
We are on the brink of our boldest flagship Discovery Studio, and you've been on this journey.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when you FaceTimed me touring the space.
Yeah, so pretty much from the minute this idea started to happen, I think the timing was just great.
Yeah.
You reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to have a chat? And I was showing my wife going, is this a joke? This is the kid from the Wonder Years.
Uh-huh.
How is
That's
this
right.
possible?
That's right.
And then, yeah, we connected and it kind of just, the momentum built because there was a way that these 2 worlds could come together. So introduce yourself, because there's 2 parts to you. There's the part everybody knows and there's the part everybody doesn't know.
Yes. My name's Fred Savage, actor, director, producer.
Yep. Documentary
documentary
star.
subject.
Yep.
And then most recently, founder of Timepiece Grading Specialists, which is a watch authenticity and condition grading service for watches being bought and sold on the secondary market. We're based in Dayton, Ohio. We're partnered with the largest independent service center in the country called Stahl & Company. And so inherent in that is people send their watches into us, where we have our watchmakers and we open them up and make sure they're okay and grade all their condition, you know, right there at the facility in Ohio.
As we were building the idea of what can we add to a Discovery Studio in New York, we thought, let's add TGS. Let's add a place for you to drop watches off. It gives us a little bit of a vintage, sort of a little bit of an intersection with the vintage world without going into it, and it started to shape up.
Yeah.
But today, we need to start with the watches so you can connect with Fred. The rules of this game are simply just like, let's go watch in turn.
Okay.
And describe why it's part of a 3-watch collection, the rationale for it. But the idea here is that you get to know a little bit more about Mr. Savage, and hopefully I can bring something else to the table.
Where should we start?
Let's start on the wrist and ease into it, because I see some packaging.
All right, so we'll kind of go in reverse order of like my evolution, because this watch is new to the collection, and it's a real departure. You know, I feel like every collector, I think, has these eras, you know, when they very first started, you know, the adolescent years as a collector, and there's this evolution, I think, as, you know, you grow and age as a person, as your tastes refine or develop, and your education, you know, grows. I think, you know, I think every collector has looked at the watch box and said, what this is all shit. You know, like I gotta start over. You know, like what have I done? And I haven't felt that, but there's definitely been like an evolution, I think, as I've gotten older, where my collecting was all really very sport watch heavy. And which was a great way to get started. So this is Gaga Laboratorio, and these are
these are some dapper gentlemen.
These guys are impossibly cool. Mo Capoletta, Ruben. These guys are
tattooists.
Impossibly cool.
Yeah.
And the only thing I could do is get their watch to be as close to them. I will never be that cool, but I can wear their watch. And so this is really, though, it's just a design piece. The way the dial's laid out, the way you tell the time, the stepped lugs. The crown at the top has like some pocket watch heritage. This is not your first watch, and this is not your 10th watch. This is definitely like you have to have been collecting for a while to add this to the collection. No one's gonna say, oh, this is the one watch that I have. But it's just a pure design piece. And I really love it. I really love it. I love the color scheme. I love the way the dial's laid out. And it's also just like a conversation piece. People will, see it on me and ask what it is.
I've held these. These guys came into the store.
Yeah.
And immediately I just thought that there's a hit going down. Like they're dressed way too well.
Yes.
They're Italian.
Yes.
There was some vibes. There's a bit of an aura to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they showed me this watch. And to me, it represents the best of what that whole cohort can do. Because when microbrands started, it really was just debauched movements in pretty unrefined cases, and the whole thing had a cottage kind of handmade feel to it.
Right.
A little bit rustic and charming, but I just wasn't, in the early days of microbrands, I was like, this will never last. Because there needed to be such a step up in terms of all of the finishings and fixtures and all the elements needed to be vastly better to compete with a Tudor or a God forbid, an Omega or a Rolex. And that gap is well and truly closed. And I think a brand like Gaga Laboratorio represent just how much a new brand can bring to the table with all these elements.
I think you're right. I think early days, the microbrands were like an affordable entry point for watches. And while they still are, I think this is great value for what they're charging for those watches. It really carves its own space. Like this is not copying anything.
Yeah,
this
truly
is
not.
Really like it justifies its existence. It's awesome, and it's got like a little bit of Art Deco. It's got a little bit of vintage. It's also a little futuristic. It's really cool. I don't even know if I'm cool enough to pull it off, to be honest with you, but it's as close as I can get to being like Mo Capoletta.
And why did you choose this pistachio kind of green?
Do you know, I was after Dubai, I was going to Miami, to South Florida. And there was just something very South Florida about this, driving in like an old, convertible in Cuba or something. Like there's just something very old school and 50s. It felt very South Florida to me. I love this mint green or pistachio. It's really cool.
It's a strong start, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
The watch that I'm picking up is from potentially the most handsome man who's not famous in Manhattan. Well, he's partly famous, he's a musician.
Yeah.
Jesse Marchant from Lorca. And this Lorca piece is one that I discovered at Wind Up 2024. Yeah. And what I'm seeing here, if we're going head to head, is just those kind of vintage tonalities and bringing forward sort of certain attributes of vintage pieces, but giving them that modern framing that gives it an entirely new kind of proposition, because a vintage piece brings with it a lot of baggage. There's problems that are gonna no doubt arise from its age. There are lots of things that the watch has experienced that you just don't know. And to me, the risk of vintage, I've only ever really bought a handful of vintage watches. And my favorite of them, a Ranchero, the second hand just fell off completely.
Okay.
And every time I mention that, there's some very kind people who are like, let me fix it. Oh, I'll fix it for free. I will take you up on it again. Please contact me again because I lost all your details last time. This is a vintage car with new car smell.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Ultimate result. So you've got this beautiful sort of like a cushion style, like a padded silver sunray or a galvanic silver dial. You have the sub dials with different finishing to give them this independent finish to the main dial. Very subtle touch of lume on the handset, and it just, I just feel like this is again epitomizes what is made accessible through this great new wave of watchmaking, which is that a watch like this is certainly going to be more affordable than something from a big box brand in a Watch of Switzerland around the corner. And I asked Jesse, what is it? What are you doing with this? Like, what do you hope to what is the best result for Lorca in a crowded market? And he said, I want to create a one watch for people that are less pretentious than you and I, less addicted to watches, less of a watch collector. I'd love for Lorca watches to be somebody's one watch.
Yeah.
As in that delivers all of the actual functionality you need from a watch that you never take off, and that also hits all the design codes that could potentially be partly dress, partly sport, and he just hits it. I absolutely love this watch. And finally, I have it in my hands. So what about you? When you hold it, what are you feeling?
I mean, yeah, I love the 3 registers. You're absolutely right. The alpha hands have a very kind of old school vibe.
Yeah.
I love the bezel. Is really
That's
cool.
actually a part that he described as being quite difficult because it's a pressed bezel, but it can't be pressed too hard, and there's a degree of human touch in actually pressing that bezel just enough that you get this really strong indentations of the turned style bezel, but also not faint enough that it doesn't look complete. So it's
no, and I love the raised numbers on the bezel. Are really cool.
Yeah.
No, this is a killer watch.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They're similarly vintage inspired but being from very different, and I think in some ways they're both Frankenstein watches. They've pulled elements from other watches.
DNA from other watches. Yeah, great reference points. All right, well, I'm gonna. You're talking about a watch. I will see your Lorca.
So he's getting into it now.
I will see your Lorca,
Okay,
and I will raise you what I would say if I was gonna have a one watch collection. This would be my argument for a one watch collection.
Okay. People love the one watch collection.
I think this can go sports. This can be worn with jeans and a t-shirt. This can be worn with a suit. This can be worn with it's low enough. It can be worn with a tuxedo. It can fit under a dress shirt. And this is a vintage watch. This is a Datejust. This is I think it's a 1603 Datejust. This is like 1970s. My wife got this for me for our 20th wedding anniversary. So on the back is XX that's been engraved. I had it engraved for 20.
Kiss kiss.
A kiss kiss and 20 exactly. And the guy was engraving it. You know, people want to do laser engraving, and I like the hand engraving. You know, it's old school. There's charm to it. You can feel it. And the guy's like, look, if you want to get that engraving buffed out, it's going to be real hard. I got to go deep with the hand engraving. And I was like, sir, if I have to buff out the engraving for my 20th anniversary, I've got bigger problems.
That'll be the least of my problems.
I've got bigger problems. I said, hand engraving, I got bigger problems. And this is a version they call the wide boy with the bigger indices, or fat boy. And you know, it's got the president bracelet, Jubilee bracelet. And I love it. It's got I think it's a 36, you know, like real vintage styling. And it just I think it looks great. It's subtle, but also really elegant. It's not gold.
Zach's giving you a standing ovation.
Yeah, it's not gold, you know, so it's not super fancy. It's steel, so you can wear it every day. You don't have to worry about it. But it's got a vintage nod, which I'm a vintage guy at heart, so it's got the vintage
and
styling.
You're a 70s baby?
I'm a 70s baby.
Yeah.
I think this can go. This would be my entry into the one watch collection field, and also, you know, I think in the scale of Rolex, it's very affordable. I think you can find a good one for, you know, $5,000.
Okay.
So you're not going to break the bank,
Yeah.
you know, wearing a Rolex, and you have a vintage Rolex classic reference, Datejust. I don't know. I just think this kind of has everything.
You know what really strengthens your case? And I'm annoyed.
And it's got that Jubilee bracelet.
Yeah, I'm annoyed.
That makes it feel like it wears really nice.
I feel like you're kind of pulling out a card here that's just like, oh, you know, we're doing this. Like it's just, it's an end game. Like it's just
But it's very casual. Like I could just be here talking
I'm annoyed.
to you.
I got to tell you why. What's the guy's name from Severance? The main guy who was in Step Brothers.
Adam Scott.
Adam Scott.
Yeah.
He just did a red carpet story about how...
I saw that. What was he wearing?
He's wearing that.
He's wearing a Datejust?
He's wearing that.
He is.
And you know why he got it?
Why?
Because he's obsessed with Harrison Ford, and his wife...
And that was the one was it his? It was his?
It wasn't his.
But it was that reference.
Which is very close to that reference. So you've kind of used a bit of Hollywood X Factor, a little bit of, whoopsie, did I accidentally just wear the watch that Adam Scott was talking about, Harrison Ford? Like I see what you've done here. I think it's kind of dirty tricks.
Look, I'm not here to play nice. I'm not above a dirty trick.
I love how you start by going, oh, is this adversarial?
Well, look, now I understand. Now I understand. I was invited here in friendship, but I'll throw down with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this can be. I think this could be a one watch. If you had one watch.
I have to admit, I'd never considered the watch, but then I remembered the pictures that Adam Scott was referring to. Remember those sexy pictures of Harrison Ford in short shorts?
Oh my gosh, on my wall.
On my wall. on my stars.
But it's got everything. It's got vintage heritage.
It's
got Rolex, but not flexi Rolex.
Yeah.
It's got the Jubilee bracelet, so you can feel, it feels, like a little fancy.
Yeah.
No, I think this has a little bit of everything.
So the truth of it is that Rolex is your absolute best bet for a vintage piece. And the reason is that the servicing of a Rolex watch of that era, you're basically going to get the watch back new. They are so fastidious with the maintenance of parts from all eras that, unlike other brands who maybe don't invest as much in after sales and servicing, these are unsexy things. These are not things that push the revenue.
It's a very
year to year.
serviceable watch.
So
very
serviceable. Like effectively, if you look at that and say, yeah, but it's old. If you get that properly serviced by Rolex,
you'll have it forever.
It's new.
Yeah,
it's new. It will go to your kids, and they will be able to get it serviced for their lifetime as
100%.
well. So this is the absolute best thing about Rolex. In particular, they never drop the bag on servicing and what that means.
And it won't be gone for 18 months.
Why am I arguing for your piece?
Yeah, look, I think I've won.
No, you haven't. You haven't, because I can meet that.
Okay.
I can meet that. So I've got an admission to make.
Oh, you were hiding it.
I'm hiding it.
Oh, you rolled it up.
I rolled
dog.
it up. Yeah, exactly. I kept that little.
Oh, you rolled it up. That's good.
Kept
it's
that
a good reveal.
light under a bushel.
That's a good reveal. Okay.
Admission though, this is not actually my watch. However, when I was packing for New York, I already had a bag of watches.
Right.
I thought, ICE is on a rampage. Customs and Border Patrol can be unpredictable.
Right.
I didn't want to push it too far.
You're on a lot of lists.
I'm on some.
You're on some lists.
I'm not going to confirm or deny that.
Yeah.
Unkind also. Gloves are off. I have a tank Louis, which is similar to this. Very, very similar. Enough for me to say that in my 3-watch collection, I will have a tank. This is our studio manager in New York's tank that I just said, please, may I just entirely hijack that watch off your wrist. So a tank to me in a 3-watch collection is essential because it was only 3 years ago that I bought my first tank, and I just, in that process of I'm transitioning from being a sports watch guy that wears, Australian men aren't super au fait with the trend towards, Jacob Elordi though is an Australian man, but he's an outlier, put it that way. For Barry at the RSL in Barwon Heads, there is no tank in that pub. There is no, this is...
Are those places in Australia? I feel like you just started speaking like Middle English.
Absolutely real.
What was that?
No. Coolangatta is another place where Eric is just not going to be wearing a tank. So...
But it's a classic shape. It's a classic shape.
And it's in a way it's classic elegance, but it's just there's an unshakably Australian male part of me that it took the longest time to get on board.
Right.
I bought one, and then I bought two, both gold tanks, both Louis Cartier tanks, and I am just a changed person. And I feel that even on a trip that's 5 days, I'm like, I have to take a tank, but I didn't because I was concerned about America. So I left it at home. So I'm taking this by proxy.
That's really cool.
But I just find that, and this is a tank, we've got a silver dial, Roman numerals, blued hands.
Do you like it on a
cabochon
strap?
crown.
Do you like it on a strap or bracelet?
I don't like it on this kind of strap. Apologies, Jose. My tank's on Molequin straps. They're suede, they add a little texture.
Yeah.
This is the classic. This is an undeniable strap for this piece, and it looks fantastic. But I'm just not into exotics. I'm not into leathers, this style of leather. But each to their own. The fact is, a tank is, in any 3-watch collection, a tank just holds up your dress watch end, holds up the elegance end. And there are just some days where it's like, it's a tank day. So I'm throwing that down against your Rolex. Datejust versus a tank feels like a fair fight.
That feels like a fair fight where there's no losers.
Yeah,
that feels like
nobody
That feels like a good fight.
Exactly.
That feels like a good fight.
So, I mean, you are literally rolling up your sleeves, so I'm stressed about the next part. But actually, there is something here that I think we can get more into now.
Yeah.
Timepiece Grading Specialists, TGS, has graded this Datejust.
Yes.
Why did you do that to yourself?
If you're going to start a company and ask people to send you their watches to grade, you have to be able to have your own watches graded also.
Can we play with this one? Like, to explain to the card, and then I've got my phone here, so we can do the thing.
Okay, so every watch we grade gets a card, and on the back of the card it has the make, the model, the serial number, the reference number, the grade. This is a 7.4. So on our grading, like 10 is like gem mint, 9 is mint, 8 is near mint, 7s are excellent. And so this is a 7.4. And what does that mean? Why is it a 7.4? Every card has a QR code. And the QR code,
Can I do it?
Yeah, sure.
Should I
Yeah.
try? I haven't actually ever tried this. You tried it to make sure it worked.
Every QR code links to a document. Yeah. And so the document has all these kind of high resolution photos of the watch, detailing everything about the watch.
So that photo at the top is the watch.
That's this watch.
That's so cool. It's like designed in. It's not just like a blocked in photo. Cool.
Yeah. So we look at every component of the watch. The hands, the dial, obviously, the crown, the bracelet, the hardware. Each document starts with a what to know. So you kind of highlights the watch.
Authentic Rolex Datejust from circa 1970. All parts are period correct. This watch is in excellent condition. The case and bezel shows signs of polishing. Good. That's
It's the signs of polishing
very
for
important
sure.
to know. Yeah, honesty is good.
We want to be totally transparent. We want people who have a watch graded, who buy a TGS graded watch, and we don't sell or buy watches, but retailers are going to carry us. So just like you'd buy a stone that's GIA certified, you'd buy a pre-owned watch that's TGS certified. And with a document, you learn everything about the watch, from its originality to its condition. So here you could see that the lume on the hand has been is grayed out. It's a wide void dial. The crown, the crown is correct. It's a twin lock crown, but some of the material is flaking off. And these are my own watches. It's not a perfect watch, but that's okay. It's mine. It shows you all the scratches. Where things have been polished. Some of the like the crown on the bracelet is soft.
Also into the movement. You're actually showing.
Oh yeah, we open up we have our watchmakers open it up so you can see the movements are. You don't want to watch and open it up and it's a no good movement. So we look at the movement, make sure that it dates correctly to the watch. We look at the bracelet, make sure the date codes on the bracelet match, or if it doesn't match, you could say, okay, this is a Rolex bracelet, but it's a later bracelet.
It's kind of a thrilling document. Like for a watch geek, this is like
it's great, and people.
It's not some scientific kind of like. It's not just some dry thing. It's a really cool thing to have for your watch.
We want people, and a lot of people send us watches, even if they're not preparing to sell it. They just want to know more about their watch. Yeah. Oh, this is my grandfather's, Patek, or this is my grandmother's pendant watch, or I got this watch as a gift for graduation. I don't know anything about it, and so we do a lot of things that aren't just preparing watches for sale. It's people just want to know about their watch, and so it's really cool.
So to sidebar back to our introduction, if this watch is a 7.4, what would you give yourself out of 10
as a human being,
as an actor, and as a director? Which number's higher?
As an actor or as a director?
You like what I did? I'm just
That's a
messing
great.
with you.
Well, all I'm thinking is like condition is rough. I'm just thinking that's my first thing is the condition. But
I genuinely want to know whether you feel more comfortable and more skillful as an actor or a director, because what you may not know about Fred here is that there was an illustrious sort of second chapter as a director of some of the greatest sitcoms of all time. You're kind of a specialist, right? Like,
yeah, director and
them
producer of like mostly comedies, most of like network comedies.
Yeah, I mean, Modern Family.
Yeah, Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Yeah, some great shows. I think that's a great question. I think as an actor, I'm a little more comfortable, just because. when you're kind of really you're very self-conscious, but when you're kind of in the zone, you kind of forget about yourself and kind of the world around you, and you're kind of in it, you know? Not that I'm like, Daniel Day-Lewis and go off into the woods to learn how to hunt.
Make shoes.
Yeah, make shoes to do it. I don't mean like that kind of like method acting, disappearing into a role. But when you're really kind of grooving, especially in comedy, you kind of forget about yourself and the scene, and you just kind of embody it. You just kind of live in it, and that's really fun.
Can you give me an example when you did that we could watch and see you in a flow state?
I did a show for Netflix. We did 2 seasons called Friends from College. And I think the way that show was written was phenomenal. And the other actors were so incredible. It was a great cast, kind of like an ensemble cast. It was an incredible cast. And when you're kind of working and doing scenes with these people, you're in a flow state. You're in a flow state. The dialogue is so in your own voice, and you really vibe with the other actors. And yes, that's a great way to put it. You're in a flow state. So I feel very comfortable. As a director, especially on set shooting, you're at least for me, I'm very in my head. You're worried about the time, and you're worried about the performances, and you're worried about the location, are we gonna lose it? And you're worried about the budget, are you gonna go over? And you're worried about, obviously you want the actors to be great, and you want the cameras to be great, and the lighting, and you're really there's a million things on your mind. For an actor, you have nothing on your mind, ideally.
I think we should do a whole video about this.
Yeah?
I think, yeah.
It's a great question.
We'll do it. There'll be another video about this. All right, so we are moving on to your third watch and the flow state.
Yes. So this is my throwdown. This is my throwdown piece.
Yeah, it's gonna get heavy.
This is I think one of my prize pieces in the collection. And as a vintage collector, there's something I love. I'm an originalist. So that your tank, that's early DNA design language of Cartier, early days.
Yeah. Truly iconic.
Truly iconic. And so I like to go to the beginnings of things, to the bottom of the family tree. So this is, and you can see this, our timepiece grading packaging. So when you send a watch in, you get it back in this lovely.
How much does it cost?
It's a sliding scale based on the value of the watch. Mm-hmm. So the entry level is $300 for watches up to $10,000. Because that's our biggest fluctuating cost, is the shipping and insurance. So when you sign up with TGS, we send you all the packaging, everything's pre-labeled.
Or you do it at Time+Tide if you want.
Exactly. Oh, right, you can come to Time+Tide if you want. But it's $300 and it kind of goes up from there. But it's all included, the packaging, the insurance, everything. So you have this lovely box, and you have this little interior box. You have the card, which you can show you. But inside is an AP Royal Oak 5402.
I'm done. I'm cooked.
A series.
Yeah.
So this is, when you talk about AP and Royal Oaks and all the incredible,
variations.
All the incredible variations, not just the medals, the perpetual calendar, everything they're doing. This was the first Royal Oak.
Yeah.
So
explain the A series.
So the A series was when Audemars Piguet had this insane idea to issue a steel sport watch with an integrated bracelet, and I think they charged it. I think it was $3,000, where you could get gold watches for less. And so AP came up with this ludicrous idea, and they made 1,000 of them, and they didn't really sell very well. And then they made, I don't know. I know they didn't sell great, but they made a second 1,000. So they made 2 batches. Is that right, Zach? They made 2 batches of 1,000, right? So this is, I think the serial number is from the second 1,000, but still an A series. And then they released a B series and a C series, and then, on from there. But when you look at everything AP has done in the Royal Oak line, it starts here. This is the beginning of the family tree, the 5402. And I just love it. It's really subtle. It's really understated. It's incredibly thin. This is not a one watch, only just because you don't want to bang this around too much, but I wear this all the time, and it's just a great, it really takes you back to the days of, early 70s, but it's also a very timeless design. Yeah. So this is Gerald Genta saying, okay, I've designed this steel sports watch with an integrated bracelet, and AP charged the insane price of $3,000 for it in the 70s, and people thought they were crazy. But that's what I love about it, is the just the beginning of that DNA. This is what launched 1,000 ships after it.
And I think that the enduring relevance of this watch, the enduring appeal of this watch is that I feel that we are in the ergonomics era. We're in an era where previously watches might have had an appeal and the way they wore sort of was secondary or tertiary to the, you didn't even really think about it sometimes. You would just think that's the signal, that's the watch, whereas we seem to be in an era where people want the icon power and they want the brand equity, but they also want wearability and slimness. And the absolute extraordinary slimness of this watch has just simply not been achieved since the OG. And that's unusual that the OG, because usually the original version gets refined and more shapely and perhaps more wearable over time. Whereas I wouldn't say that the Royal Oak's gone the other way, but it certainly has. It's put on some muscle in the gym.
And it's gotten bigger. It's gotten bigger. It's gotten thicker.
Yeah, but and look how slim this is.
No, it's a great, and it wears. I mean, here I'll get the bracelet's just great. This is a great one.
Yeah, the jumbo, the enduring appeal of the jumbo, and that's why with all of the variations since, it's kind of like it's just a slam dunk and the unbeatable version. So this game is over. We can just wrap it up. But I will still bring my third. But this is a killer. What does this get? The condition to my naked eye looks exceptionally good.
Yeah, so let's see.
Where are we at?
This got. Let's see. This was a 7.9. Which is right near an 8, which would be excellent.
Where did it lose points? Because it's.
So I mean,
I've seen plenty of A series, and this is right up there.
So the condition of the dial is pretty great. If you look, there's a little lume missing from I think the minute hand, which isn't a killer, but so every component of the watches that we evaluate gets a score. The hands, the dial, the crown, the bracelet. And they're all weighted. They all get put into a weighted formula to give one score for the watch. And so for example, a scratch on the crystal wouldn't be as detrimental to the score as a scratch on the dial, which is much more significant. But the highest weight is originality. Are the parts all correct for the watch? And so what this watch has is, it's got an AP signed crown. But originally this watch came with an unsigned crown. So it's a service replacement crown.
Service crown, yeah.
The clasp, the original clasp said Audemars Piguet on it. This says AP. So it's a service clasp. So there are things about it that it doesn't make it, worthless by any stretch, but originality is the most prized, the highest weight of all our scores. And so if it were all original, this would be, a higher score. It's all AP, but there's replacement parts. And there are parts of a watch that are consumable parts. The crown is meant to be replaced. The crystal is meant to be replaced.
Yeah.
And so, especially with vintage, as someone who wears his watches, yes, you could get an all original, museum quality watch, but that might be a watch that you vault. I want to wear my watches. Yeah. And so, the fact that there's replacement parts to me doesn't reduce the value of the watch. To the marketplace, people collectors, they might want an all original, but when it comes to something like this, like an AP in this condition, an A series AP, you're not going to find it. I like that the watches live a life. There's something about it for me as someone who wears his watches. I like that they've lived a life, and that's why I love vintage.
I'm now, I'd already chosen this, so I can't change it. But my third watch it's interesting actually, because I did bring the packaging to show you as a vintage lover how much thought Serica and Lorca have put in some thought to their packaging as well. This looks like a vintage, like a box from like a jewelry store or something.
It feels like an old Vacheron logo, kind of.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
it does. This is a Serica. This is the Serica kind of buyer journey. This is the 5303, my absolute favorite of their models so far. I get that people love the parade, and I respect that. But when Teddy asked for like most worn watch of the year, I'd fessed up and said it was the Serica 5303, which is not a new watch by any means. I have the white dial. I've taken this from our stock here at Time+Tide because once again, I didn't want to bring too many watches in, but you will know that this is legit. I own this watch. So the 5303, once again, we've kind of followed a path here where it's capturing vintage atmosphere and perhaps that the style and aesthetic, but puts it in a package that is thrillingly new. As in, there's just no question in your mind as you hold this watch and as you kind of interact with it for the first time.
Oh yeah, that's really great.
It's crisp in
And
all
the
the ways
bracelet
you
must
want
wear
it.
so nicely. Just
Bracelet
wraps around your
that
wrist.
there is no hair that can fit between those super tightly meshed links. So this is the most addictively wearable watch. It has the best bezel feel. Do you want to try the bezel on that?
Yeah. Oh, just twisting it?
Just, yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, great.
You can probably hear that from there, Marcus. You actually hold it up to your mic. Give the people the...
It's cool. It's really great.
There's a smile people get when they twist the Serica bezel. I just love it. It's not even conscious that you just go... So yeah, I had to bring this to the party. This isn't, to me, it's kind of borderline modern icon from the micro brand set. And the way that they have mashed many codified vintage elements into something that stands alone and is recognizable is kind of crazy. And the price on this, I think it's around £1,300. I haven't adjusted for America, but
it's really cool.
It's pretty crazy. The comfort is off the chart. It can be worn. It's a proper diving chronometer. All Sericas are chronometer grade.
Yeah, I saw that on the dial. That's incredible.
They just get more and more serious about the details of what they do and giving you that assurance that this is. And they've done a few little cheeky things in here, just a little swing tag.
Yeah, very cool. I've seen that before.
I might have seen one or two of those. So this is a sensational brand, and it's been really cool actually. I haven't checked the comments on Teddy since like the second day that it launched, but there were quite a few people picking the Serica out of all the watches going, I'd never seen that, how cool. And really at the heart of what we do and what has pivoted Time+Tide's direction is that exact moment of discovery where people go, wow, I'd never seen that. And it's different when you're a journalist like Zach was in the early days of Time+Tide before we opened stores. You would just get so fired up at the thought that you could help someone discover something new. But there's still an extra gravitas that comes from someone like me saying, yep, Zach told you it was cool, but I just bought 200 of them because I believe in them and I'm putting my money where my mouth is.
Yeah.
Not only do I have a safe full of Serica that I believe are just gonna fly, I also have bought the watch myself. And this is kind of the next level of faith in a brand. But hey, it's over to you. It's voting time. I mean, this has been totally mismatched once again. The 3-watch throwdown has a habit of just going absolutely...
It doesn't go in your favor?
It just goes sideways.
Right.
No, you start out thinking this will be a fun adversarial situation, but you really just you crushed a walnut with a sledgehammer today, my friend.
I appreciate that. I think that's high praise coming from you. Absolutely.
But truly, and self-servingly, these watches are ripe for discovery here. And did you know these two brands before today?
No, I did not know these two brands. And I think that's one of the things I'm most looking forward to when this is operational is the brands that you guys will carry. They're not brands that you're going to find everywhere. It's like really well curated.
Most of them will be exclusively
really thoughtful.
Here. So, as in, we are exclusive global retailer for most of the brands in here. Fred, we've created some carnage here.
This is time well spent.
Yeah, I feel like my energy's just dropped out ever since I saw the 5402. I'm like, okay, cool. There goes the neighborhood. But look, it has been super fun. We will do a video where we talk more about the two worlds of Fred Savage. Because I haven't indulged any of the things I wanted to ask you.
We'll talk about it.
So hang on, there'll be more. Thank you again, Fred.
It's my pleasure. Fun battling with you.
Vote below. I'm cooked. It's good.